Afternoon, Patriots. Me again, Shannon Fox here, the Road to Patriots 2. And I'm down at the local RNC here in Waco in McLennan County, Texas. And I wanted to talk to some of the local staff here, some of the people that do the volunteer work, and the lady running the place, of course, just to get her insight on some of the things that I think are so important, like early voting, just so many things that we need to brush up on before we make our vote this time, and some things that she could probably explain better than I could about how activism, helping out on the local level is where it's at as far as securing your elections, helping get out the vote, and so many other things. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself. We'll go from here.
Hello, my name's Patty O'Day. I'm the office administrator for the McLennan County Republican Party. Our office is located at 539 North Valley Mills Drive in Waco, and we're open from Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. till 5:30 p.m. We have all kinds of yard signs and flags and stuff for all the candidates, all the Republican candidates. We have, while we were able to, we were registering voters here. The deadline has passed, but we can help you get a ride to the polls, or we're doing texting out of our office to try to get voters out to vote. And we will be handing out a voter guide, a Republican voter guide at the early voting. So there's lots of opportunities for volunteers, and we need help down here. So please call us at 254-772-6955 and come and help us volunteer or get your yard signs.
And this applies to every RNC. I mean, that's basically what has to be taken. All of our voting issues that we have to be dealt with on a local level. Federal government's not doing their job at this point. Most of us agree. We have some great state leaders here in the state of Texas, like Ken Paxton and Abbott, doing great work. But it takes the voters getting out and being activated to put the signs in their yard and register to vote, encourage people to register to vote, and make sure you actually show up on election day and vote. If not, do early voting. First question for you, if you don't mind. Got lots of questions here. What are your daily duties as running the RNC here in Waco?
So we have hundreds of people, customers coming in on a daily basis. They want yard signs. They don't know where to vote or how to vote. Many people have never voted in their life, and now they're in their 60s and they want to vote in this election. So we are deputy voter registrars. In Texas, that's what you have to be able to register voters. And we've done as many as we can get done. The deadline was October 7th. We help those. We sign up people that need rides to the polls. We have volunteers that are going to go out to their houses. Awesome. And pick them up. We also are in charge of selecting. There's 46 polling places in our county, and we are in charge of selecting the judges at each of the polling places. And there's a Republican judge and a Democrat judge, and we appoint all the Republican judges. And we help those Republican judges get clerks to help at the election day. And so that's one of our duties that we do there. Our whole goal is to get out the Republican vote and get Republicans elected, and we've been doing a pretty good job in our county here.
Great. That's great to hear. I see the signs everywhere. I have never seen more people activated, at least with showing their colors in their yards. Right. I see both party signs everywhere.
Right, yeah.
Now, the RNC has got a bad rap, not necessarily the counties or on local levels, but the RNC with the previous lady that was running it. A lot of people were really not wanting to contribute to the RNC because they didn't feel like they were dealing with election integrity. They were spending way too much money on flower arrangements and limousines, and I forget the lady's name that was running it last time, but now we've got Watley and Laura Trump that are now running the RNC. Just in this little time that they've been in control of it, I've seen a lot of push on their part to sue people, sue states in order to try to get them to clean up their voter rolls and so many things. So I believe they're actually doing great work.
Yeah.
Do you believe the RNC is in better shape now with these two folks running the show?
Yes, and off the topic, I was a delegate to the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee this year.
Awesome.
And I saw what a great job they did. It was very organized. moved right along the whole time. And maybe you saw the Texas delegation waving our cowboy hats, and I was very proud to be one of those.
Awesome.
And tens of thousands of people all surrounding you. It was such a great show. And then 2 days after he was shot, President Trump comes walking out on, into the place. It was so well organized and such a good job that I was really proud to be a Republican and be part of it. Yeah.
I'll have to go find that picture. You got some of those? I got to hunt them down. It'd be great to put on the thumbnail here.
Yeah.
I remember the white hats.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. I watched several hours of that.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was actually a great RNC. I've never seen one that had so many entertainers.
Yes.
It was action packed from start to finish. It was amazing.
But mainly it was heartwarming stories and great politicians. We didn't have Taylor Swift or whoever was supposed to show up, but who did we have? The Hulk? We had the Hulk. There you go.
We had several Kid Rock. We had several.
Yes.
And a lot of these people, do not like actors throwing their weight around. As far as going, I pick so and so. No, not you. But like say Denzel Washington or LeBron James or these Matthew McConaughey. I don't know how these people vote. I don't really care. I don't know why people like Taylor Swift think that they need to really make a plea to push for a party. If I was in any kind of music industry, in the entertainment industry or something, I wouldn't think I would want to shoot myself in the foot by declaring my political party, because it's going to definitely draw division amongst the people that like you, because not everybody that likes you is on the same page with politics. And so I see a lot of the time, there's a lot of these people that are too outspoken and it ruins their careers, and then I see people that don't have any opinion at all because they're trying to do the safe thing. And when you're doing something like working at the RNC, going to these major events, you're kind of putting yourself out there a little bit. Yeah. And not everybody realizes that. Some of these ladies here probably do volunteer work. Some of them probably get a little bit of money from the state, but all in all, it's mostly because they care about their country, and I have to believe that. Yeah. And there's a price to pay for that at times. These ladies probably work a lot more hours than a lot of people for not enough pay. And I just want to first off say thank you to you and all the volunteers that make this happen in our county. It would not. Yeah, they're all volunteers out there right now. It wouldn't be possible without people like you.
That's right. Thank you.
And I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Like I said, there's a lot of things going on with the elections right now, getting so close to the wire. We've had rule changes in several states. We've got the RNC suing several states trying to get them to clean up their voter rolls. We've got the Democrat Party's Mark Elias is countersuing to try to stop the cleanup of the voter rolls in about 15 states now. They're going back and forth. The RNC's involved, Stephen Miller's involved, Ken Paxton's involved, Attorney General Bailey from Missouri is involved. These people are really trying to fix the problems before we have to complain about it later because we didn't fix them in advance. That's my whole argument with this. Now, I always encourage people to vote on election day, because my theory was if you give them too much time to come up with more numbers, because of what I've seen in Detroit and different things in the 2020, my theory was don't give them time to come up with numbers. But that theory got blown out of the water when they just delay how long it takes to count the votes after the election's over. So that theory kind of gets wiped out of the water. And so I'm thinking, well, maybe early voting is not such a bad thing. And I just want to get your opinion on that.
Well, especially in this election, that whole thinking has changed with the Republican Party. You saw what happened in Arizona. I can't remember, they ran out of ink or something. And so on election day, they have 115-degree weather out there. People are not going to stand outside and wait till they get ink. And so they went home and they didn't vote. Democrats vote early voting. They push it. And we were being so pure, and everybody was supposed to vote on election day. Well, this is what happened. In Houston, they had some kind of computer suddenly with the ballots on election day. So those people went home and didn't vote again. Same thing happened up in New York. Democrats voted early voting because we always have to vote on election day. And then they had a blizzard on election day. So we didn't vote, and we lost a Republican seat. So we're saying, don't do that. Get out. President Trump is pushing this too. Get out and vote early. The other thing is then you're banking your vote. And those are the votes, those first votes that you see on election night, when you have an election night watch party, those first votes that you see, those are those early voting and the mail-in ballots that were done.
Those are coming in first.
They're coming in first. And so that's why they can call some of the states so early, because they can tell. In our county, we're hoping that we can get, I don't know, 70% or so of the voters in for early voting. So we get our count done early. And then the one last thing is, our volunteers out there are texting to people that haven't voted. And every day we're going to go in and we're going to remove the names of the people that voted, and we're just going to keep texting to the people that haven't voted. And so if you vote on the first day, your name's taken off of our list of people to call. And so you save us a lot of time, and then you actually have time to come down and help us text. So come on down, we need help.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I'm going to take us off screen for just a second. I wanted to read something. It was a ruling brought out by the state of Texas, Secretary of State's office here in the last 3 or 4 days. I don't know if the Democrats actually have time to flip this before 15 days. How many days we got till election? 18 days, 19 days?
Like that. I'm not sure exactly.
Early voting is about to start here in Texas, and just
on Monday.
And I'll be doing a little poll watching as well. Just doing a little volunteer work here myself. I do encourage everybody, if you get opportunity to get anybody registered to vote, get anybody, you need to give somebody a ride to the voting, to the polling place. Do what you can. We really need it this time. This is the most important election in our history, my opinion. What do you think?
I agree, 100%. Take your grandkids, your nieces, nephews, your next door neighbor. Everybody needs to get to the polls.
Now I'm going to read you this. I found something I found on Twitter. Like I said, folks, put the goggles on. It says here on October. All right, now I got it a little bigger. It says on October 8th, the office issued advisory from the Secretary of State's office, term limits, driver's license, and identification card regarding the use of temporary or limited term driver's license to vote. These are these temporary licenses, like the paper license and things you get. The next day, the Secretary of State sought to a formal legal opinion from the Office of the Attorney General, Ken Paxton, on this important issue. In the absence of a response from the Attorney General, the Secretary of State issues this amended advisory supplement, the steps described in Advisory 2024-30. As explained in the advisory, the election workers have an obligation under state criminal law not to facilitate illegal voting by non-citizens. When all individuals attempt to vote by presenting their temporary or limited term driver's license, which federal regulations say must be issued only to non-citizens who are lawfully present in the country. Election workers must require that the individuals produce a naturalization card or a naturalization certificate demonstrating U.S. citizenship to receive a regular ballot. And the phone number's at the bottom of the page. This is basically, from what I understand, all that I've read about it, this is just another way of shoring up anybody that is in question when they come in with a paper ID. And I don't think you're allowed to ask them about their citizenship status for some reason, other than on the paper. I don't think you're allowed to verbally discuss that.
I don't think so, but they're saying you are.
But here they're saying you can at least contest. You can't contest them, but you can at least say you need 2 forms of proof.
Right.
And that's actually, every little bit helps, folks. These things are just seem like little rulings to a lot of people, but these little things are going to make the difference in our elections being run fairly in every state. That's why this battle is going on, and I see it every day on Twitter, just back and forth with the states fighting with the federal government behind trying to do the right thing. Depending on what state it is. Some of the states don't seem like they care about elections, if you ask me.
Well, I moved from California to Texas, and in California, we were not even allowed to ask for an ID. So you didn't have to have a picture ID. Here in Texas, you have to have a picture ID, and you don't get those easily. If you got one of those temporary ones they're talking about, they look different than our other IDs, and so that's why they're clarifying that here in Texas. I feel pretty safe in Texas. I did not feel safe in California. Anybody, Joe Blow from wherever could vote.
You know, I think it was in 1984, they signed an amnesty bill in California that allowed about 2 million other newcomers to come in and become citizens. And as a result of that, California has been a blue state ever since, 60 to 70% democratically run. And that's what happens if you do not shore up the process.
Right.
And that's, California is a prime example of what can happen to the whole United States if we don't slow down this problem.
Yep.
Now, I want to show you another video here in a minute, but I want to get down to a little bit of a talk about elections. Absentee ballot here in Texas is pretty hard to get.
Yes.
It's not easy. A lot of states, they'll give you absentee ballot for no reason.
Well, in California, you could get a permanent absentee ballot. So you did it once in your lifetime, and they sent it.
You one every.
And then during COVID, they just sent out those ballots out to everybody, whether they were signed up to get an absentee ballot or not. They sent them by mail.
They just blanketed.
In Oregon, they do all mail-in ballots. So, but Texas, it's harder.
The thing I don't like about Texas voting, the only thing that really bothers me is the provisional ballot. The provisional ballot, the way I understand it, you can come in and vote without a real identification, but you need like phone bills or a electric bill and things of that nature. And if you come in and you demand to vote, they have to let you vote even without.
So that day, on election day, they will take it, but they will take your ballot and not put it in with all the other thousands of other ballots. They put it in like a pink envelope or a different color envelope, and they're just put aside. And then they're not counted that same night, the provisional ballots. They are put aside until like the day after or the following days, and then they go and investigate those. And if those people came in and they said, I demand to vote, but we couldn't find them on the voter registrar list, they'll look them up, and if they're still not registered to vote, that their vote is not going to count.
Awesome.
So they are investigating those, but they do that after the thing. But you have, if you don't let them vote, at least try to vote on election day, then they don't get a chance.
Right.
So you do the provisional ballot, but you highlight it in a different bright pink envelope or some other color
and
envelope.
Then you double check this and you verify.
Yes. So I feel comfortable with those.
That's great. Now, I know nobody feels happy with what happened in the 2020 election.
Right.
I've got a short little video here I wanted to show to you, and this is not here in our state, but being a poll watcher, poll worker, this is something that we all got to keep our eyes open for. I'm sure you have probably seen some shenanigans living up in California. Check out this video. Let me make sure I'm on the right kind of screen, right? No, I don't. Give me just a second, folks. We're going to watch this together.
Oh my God. Hi. Hey, so you with the elections? You're the Bureau of Elections, right?
Well, I'm just a volunteer.
We're just wondering okay, I understand you're a volunteer and you're just doing your job. What's all these? Are these mail-in ballots or what's these coming in?
What are these?
Uh-huh.
These are my in tape here?
What's that?
Am I in tape as well?
Yeah, because we're wondering why are ballots being handled down here and not up there with the elections. So we're curious about that.
Okay, yeah, the gentleman who's in charge of this, I think, should be right back down.
What's his name?
Gosh, what is his name? Do you know his name?
Are you volunteer or employee?
I'm a poll watcher. Okay? I'm a poll.
Supervisor will be back here.
So what's his name?
I don't know.
Okay.
Just volunteer.
And you're a volunteer? What kind of volunteer are you? With the elections?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just curious. Oh my God.
So we know that stuff happens. There's no doubt about it. Hopefully not here. But I know in Houston and Dallas and things that they're probably going to try such things where people, I don't know, I can't say either way that one party is 100% worse at this than the other, because I've never seen it with my own eyes other than just watching videos. But I'm sure since the beginning of since elections have started in this country, people have always been trying to sway the vote to favor their party, to favor their side. When you see stuff like this, I see all kinds of violations. Not only is she just avoiding answering anything, can't tell you who she is, who anybody is, when somebody's going to be back. She didn't seem like she had any real answers. But it does seem like she's in violation. If she is on her own, shouldn't she have somebody there watching her?
Well, first of all, that's kind of shocking what you have there. If those are mail-in ballots or any kind of ballots, they shouldn't be loose. In our county, again, we appoint the person that is in charge of counting the ballots. And because we won the governor's race, we get to have the head judge of the central count, and that is somebody that our party appointed, and this person is extremely well qualified to do that, and we trust her. And we have poll watchers that were highly trained in voter integrity experts that are going to be poll watching that operation. I mean, you're a poll watcher, that's great, but we also have specially trained poll watchers watching the central count. And there should not be any ballots just sitting around for a poll watcher to see, just sitting around like that. The ballots that are coming from the polling stations are in a locked boxes from each polling location. The ones that are coming in by early voting, by mail-in votes, those are handled on a daily basis. They'll start doing those Monday when early voting starts, and they'll start counting and checking the mail-in ballots. And we appoint, there's Democrats and Republicans on the ballot board. And the best way I can describe it to you is, do you remember the Chads, the time of the Chads, and they had a Republican and a Democrat sitting there looking at the ballots? Well, that's what these people are doing. But they start doing that, and they're watched, and they're appointed by the Democrat Party and us. There's one for one, and they work on those. And again, I feel confident in our county that we have a secure ballot board and signature verification board assigned in McLennan County. And I don't know what happens in other counties, but all you can do is where you live, do what you can do, and do your best. And I think we're doing that here.
I agree. I think McLennan County is actually doing a fine job.
Yep.
I like the fact that we got off the tablet last 2 times. I guess in the 2020 we used the Smartmatic tablets.
Yes.
And now you fill out your actual paper ballot since
Right.
the 2022, like a bubble sheet, almost like a school test or something.
Scantron. Yeah.
Scantron. And you shove it in the machine, the tabulation machine, and it reads your vote. And then it spits out does it stamp it while it's in the machine?
So what it does is it grabs up, once it accepts your, because if you voted for 2 people for president, it spits it back out and says you can't do that. You got to fix that. But once it accepts your count, your vote, it scoops up your ballot, the paper ballot, and puts it in that lock box that I was talking about. And but the computer saves it, the information. So I don't know that what did you ask me if you get a stamp?
Does once your vote runs through the machine, it's counted by the machine?
It's counted, and your name is, you can't vote again.
And then it's automatically
Right, your name is taken off of there.
Awesome.
Yeah, but if there's a problem later on with the count, you would run. Well, maybe we have a recount of it. If we have to, we still have those paper ballots that we can verify against the computerized ones. And they do audits of a certain percentage of each of the various different elections to make sure that the paper ballots match to those. So it's a pretty good system.
Well, we're hoping when Trump gets back in there here in a few months, he's going to go to all paper ballots in all states and get rid of these machines, because there's always going to be people that are skeptical of the machines because they're worried about them being hooked up to the internet.
And why do they have to go to Italy or
Yes, exactly. We've all seen the 2000. Have you seen the 2000 Mules video?
Yes.
Then I don't have to explain to you about what goes on in swing states. You know, and I'm sure my listeners know as well. But I'm glad to see that we're trying to do the right thing on a local level, and that's what I encourage everybody to do. That's what I want to do with this video more than anything. Not just encourage you to register to vote, but encourage other people to vote, and try to do your due diligence to help. I mean, putting signs in your yard, wearing your Trump hat, talking to your neighbors about how important this election is. I think all these little things add up to success. And I think we have an opportunity to get our country running in the right direction again. And if we don't elect Donald Trump, just my opinion, if we don't elect Donald Trump, we're in trouble.
Yeah. It's time everybody needs to step up and help us save America. It's just that simple. He needs our help, and we need him.
Now, I think that 2020 was run horribly. Most people do.
Yeah.
Due to the COVID and the rule changes and the Mark Elias doing his little games with the manipulation of every state's rules. And it was a mess, among with the drop boxes and Mark Zuckerberg's money and so many things.
Right.
I don't see all of that happening in the 2024. I mean, I still see Mark Elias out there working for Kamala Harris, but I don't see the massive ballot harvesting. I don't see the NGO machine that was put together in 2020 being as well. I'm just watching, like, there's a guy named Scott Pressler, greatest ballot harvester in America. He's in Pennsylvania, and he's literally flipping these counties, getting people more people registered as Republicans in these counties. And you can see, and I started following Pennsylvania, and then I started following these other states that are swing states up there, up north, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, because these are really going to make a difference if we win or not. And it looks like the Democrats are not registering like they were in 2020. The Republicans have not only gained ground, but have overtaken these percentages. We were 30-40% on registration versus the Democrats, 60-70%, and it was killing us.
Yeah.
And now I see it's just the opposite. It's literally flipped. I believe the Republicans in every state, like Charlie Kirk is one of the people, Turning Point USA, is got people in Arizona. He's paying people to get out there and knock on doors, canvass, and get people registered to vote. Elon Musk is offering people $47 a piece to fill out a petition about First and Second Amendment rights, just to get people in the mindset of what matters, right? That's a great thing. There's so many different organizations right now that are out there trying to encourage people to register to vote on both sides. And I encourage everybody to vote, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. It's your civic duty to do what you think is right and actually make your voices heard. I don't agree with any of the Democrat policies at this point. I think they went off the rails with their craziness, just my opinion. But I definitely encourage everybody to vote if you feel the desire to make a difference in your country's future, your country. Here's your opportunity. Because if you don't vote, you don't get to complain about it later when things aren't going the way they should be going. And that's what I tell everybody. I had a couple more questions for you, but you're doing great.
All right, trying.
There's a list I've got here. Let me get it for you. I thought this was really a cool thing that y'all put out. This is something that I found out. I come up here yesterday, and this lady showed me this thing and gave me a handful of them to pass out. And everybody that I know that's going to be voting, I'm going to give them one because I don't know every single politician in Texas that I need to vote for. I always just vote Republican all the way down the ticket. There are a couple of races where you actually have to vote for somebody more than once, like Pat Curry. Doc Anderson relinquished his seat before the end of the term, and so you actually got to vote on Pat Curry twice for that position. Once to finish out the term, and then once to for the next one. But I'm going to read off the list of people you should be voting for if you're here in Texas and you're voting for Republicans. This may not apply to you depending on what state you're in, but just bear with me, folks. Of course, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, Ted Cruz, Pete Sessions. Love Pete Sessions. I got to meet him. Did an interview with him in West a while back. Christy Craddock. These are railroad commissioners and Texas Supreme Court. Jimmy Blacklock, John Devine, Jane Bland, David Shinek, Gina Parker, Lee Finley, Pat Curry, Angela Orr, Matt Johnson, Pat Curry again, that's a special election, Thomas West, Gary Coley Jr., Alan Bennett, Ryan Luna, Pat Adkins, Parnell McNamara. Now these are actually county races, these last 3 or 4 or 5. McNamara is our great sheriff we have here in town. Right. I think he's the best.
He's fun.
Yeah. But yeah, these last 4 or 5 races don't actually apply to you unless you literally live in this county. But as goes, definitely go vote for J.D. Vance, Pete Sessions, Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz could really use your support right now. This Colin Aldred is outspending by $150 million. And I've got nothing nice to say about Colin Aldred, just from what I've seen in the commercials alone without doing any research.
Right.
Do you have any opinions about any of these crazy Democrats we see?
Well, I think that they don't have anything. So they have nothing. They have Kamala Harris who can't. I'm doing word salad, but she's supposed to be able to speak, and she has no policies out, and so they've raised $1 billion, and so they have all these ads going out, and that's where they're spending all their money, because even Zuckerberg has come out and said, I'm not going to contribute like I did last time, because he was so highly criticized, and he saw how bad a job they did, and he's embarrassed by what happened.
I think
and
he realized that he was hated for what he did, and
yes,
I think he realized he was wrong.
It was wrong, and he has now respect for Trump because Trump got shot in the ear, and so they have nothing, but what they do have is energy and money, and they will pay people. When I lived in California, they were paying us $9 per person that we registered to vote. So that's a lot, and I'm sure they're still doing that. But ballot harvesting is not legal in Texas. So if you see somebody doing that, turn them in. That's illegal. Texas has, I think, very good laws, election integrity laws. That doesn't mean it can't be improved a little bit more, but they're much better than many of these other states. And so all I'm suggesting is take everybody you know to the polls and get them to vote, and I ask you to vote early so that we can get this job done.
Got one more good question for you. Is there going to be an after party if we win this thing?
We always have a victory party, and we are having one here. It's going to be at the Backyard Bar and Grill.
Okay.
In Waco.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I just figured I'd ask.
Yeah.
We'll all be celebrating that night.
That's right.
God willing.
Yes.
Thank you for doing this
my
with
pleasure.
me today.
Well, thanks for
this is awesome.
getting out the vote.
If I could say anything to encourage anybody to vote, it's not hard to get in people's ear. My hat does that a lot of days. I go to the grocery store and literally talk to 4 or 5 people, shake a couple of veterans' hands, and encourage everybody to vote. And maybe my little bit of conversation didn't make a difference, but if I do this every day, all day long, maybe I'll make a little bit of a difference, like this lady here is doing, like her team here is doing.
Right.
Now we're going to end the interview, but I want to walk around this place and just show y'all some of the cool stuff they have, merchandise and different things. Like I said, thank you to you and all these great volunteers up here.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we're going to do a little walk around with the camera. And I'll come in here and clean up my mess. Hold on just a minute. Bear with me, folks. I am having technical difficulties with the camera. Give me a half a second, folks. We'll do a walk around on this RNC. I just want to show you what it's like up in here. All right, here we go. We're in the office of the RNC, folks. Doing a little walk around. Two Trump supporters here, folks. Hope they don't mind me doing a little filming.
I think they're probably on the front. Oh, okay. Yeah. Pretty sure. But let me get your, I can hear you. Well, that was so disgusting. I started to run. Okay. That's not the first time. Come out over here.
There we go, folks. All kinds of merchandise up in here. Lots of these hard-working ladies and gentlemen doing the calls. Everything needs to be done. Try to get these people activated to vote. I'm gonna sign off now, folks. I just want to tell you thank you for joining in today, and hopefully you enjoyed and maybe even learned something today with this interview with this great lady here at the RNC. Like, subscribe, and share to Vote to Patriots. Everybody have a great day. Over and out.